Hey guys, I'm going to get right to the point like I always do. So, this is not a clickbait video for attention. This is for real. So, I need you to watch it to the end. Why is our real estate inventory of available homes so low with no sign of improvement? The main reason is that investors that manage hedge funds, corporations such as Blackrock, Vanguard, and others are buying homes pre-market in large quantities before the homes can ever be known about to the open real estate market. They don't flip the homes. They become high-priced landlords instead. They take away our inventory, which drives home prices skyrocketing because of low supply and high demand. They have no intentions of reselling the properties that they buy. This is just one big game of monopoly to them, but it's devastating to home buyers. Here's an example of how they operate. A builder built 124 homes at Amber Pines at Foster's Ridge in Conroe, Texas, to sell to families. But an institutional investor offered substantially over asking price and bought all 124 homes. Now these homes are for rent instead of for sale. I was discussing this yesterday in an open forum on Facebook, and one woman mentioned that her community called an emergency meeting yesterday because they found out that a corporation was buying a large amount of homes in their community. Why is that alarming? Well, each state may have different laws on HOAs, but in some states, if you have 20% of the community's signatures on a petition, you can legally overthrow the HOA. So if a community has, say, 200 homes and the corporation buys 40 of them, that gives them 20% of the signatures and it gives them control to do that if they wanted to. Since I update new foreclosures that come to market every 10 days on my channel, people always ask me how come there's not that many new foreclosures coming to market when we all know that COVID-19 caused thousands of people to foreclose and be evicted. Well, the reason is that these big corporations are buying foreclosures in bulk sales, hundreds of homes in one single transaction directly from the banks at 50 cents on the dollar. So they're intercepting and stopping the natural flow of housing inventory. I've been in real estate for a couple of decades now, and in the old days, when corporations bought hundreds of foreclosed homes at 50% of market value from a bank, they then sold them off to home flippers for, say, 65 or 70% of market value. And then the flippers fixed the homes up and they brought them to market at 100% market value. That was the general flow of things. But the difference now is that corporations seem to be holding the properties instead as long-term landlords. So as BlackRock and Vanguard and others continue to intercept real estate before the properties can ever come to market, they're actually controlling the market overall so that inventory will stay low and they can jack rent prices up as high as they want because people have to live and they have no other choices. So the only weapon we as consumers have to fight them back is by deciding which banks to park our money in and where to spend our money. When we deposit money into the big banks, we're feeding the monster because these huge corporations that are killing the American dream of homeownership basically own the banks and use our deposited money to buy our real estate and become America's landlords. So let's take a look at Blackrock's holdings. They own over 5,400 major companies: Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Facebook, Tesla, Johnson & Johnson, every major bank, Berkshire Hathaway, United Health, PayPal, Home Depot, Procter & Gamble, Walt Disney, Adobe, Comcast, Cisco, Exxon, Verizon, Pfizer, it goes on and on. AT&T, Merck, Coca-Cola, Netflix, Chevron, Eli Lilly, Nike. They even own stinking Chipotle. So you can't even have a burrito without thinking about them. So if you look at all of these major companies they own, it's virtually impossible not to feed the monster because we have to live and their hands are in everything. So now you see how impossible it is to keep our money out of their hands. So we're just going to keep feeding the monster. But there is one thing we can do. We have one weapon, our bank accounts. We can move them to smaller banks that are not owned by these institutional fund managers. There's credit unions and smaller banks that are independent. And if enough people did that, it might make an impact on our real estate situation. That's the only way I can think of to fight the greed of America's new landlords and bring some control back to the people. What are your thoughts on this? Let me know. I'd love to hear from you guys too.